Best babysitter of all time, any sort. Like, obviously, I think you say Tim Tebow would be a great babysitter. But if I needed a babysitter in a pinch and I had to choose an athlete,
I'm with you on Tim Tebow for a great babysitter. I know probably who the worst would probably be.
Who would you say?
I'm definitely thinking Antonio Brown.
Absolutely.
I feel like Russ might be the most boring babysitter.
Oh, you know, that's another good one, too. Speaking of phony.
He'll come with all the cliches.
Yes, he would drive you nuts. He'd probably do a good job, like from the parents' perspective. He'll make sure the kids are okay. But yeah, the kids probably would not like him. They'd be, putting things in his shoes and stuff.
He'd be like the substitute teacher that nobody likes.
Exactly. They're throwing things at him when he turns around, sticking signs on his back.
Super responsible, though.
Oh, he'd be a great babysitter, but the kids just wouldn't like him.
Sports Map tonight, weeknights from 10 to 1 Eastern.
Wake up call.
Duran, right?
Yep.
Can you find Duran at a local casino?
Probably.
You know what's amazing? These guys, at one point, they're playing in arenas, right? And then they're going to be like, come for the buffet, stay for Duran.
Show starts at 6.
Buffet begins at 5.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Did you know you can go to a trade school college that has you learning as an apprentice in a real radio station, culinary kitchen, film studio, or in a recording studio? Stay out of debt and out of a boring college classroom and learn on the job in the real world. The Radio Connection puts you in a real radio station. The Recording Connection trains you in a real recording studio. The Film Connection has you learning under a real filmmaker. And CASA has you learning one-on-one in a real restaurant. It's your life. Amplify it now and learn as an apprentice in a unique way to get a career as a broadcaster, podcaster, chef, music producer, or filmmaker. Just visit one of our sites, radioconnection.com, recordingconnection.com, filmconnection.com, or casaschools.com. Or call 1-865-413-5724. That's 1-865-413-5724.
The diehards.
And then all of a sudden, a sweeper pitch comes in. What's a sweeper? And I looked at her and I went, I don't know. Hey, Siri, what's a sweeper pitch? What is going on? Like, I felt like I was lost. And I'm like, I cover sports. I know this. Again, I'm a knucklehead fan on the radio, but I'm like, what is this? And then I'm seeing slurve. And I'm going, what? Like, am I gone?
The Diehards. Weeknights from 8 to 10 Eastern on the Sports Map Radio Network.
You're listening to the Let's Talk Wheels Radio Network. Here's Jeremy Birnbaum and Mike Herzing.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Wheels. All right, folks. This segment I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about 2024 and how it's going to start, where we think we're going to be. But one of the things I want to mention also, 2024, it starts off pretty good. Right now, it looks like the dealers have gotten good inventory and things like that. The interest rates are a little bit higher than they'd like to be, but it's starting off with auto shows, and it's showed that Stellantis and a couple other companies are kind of doing away with some of the auto shows. I'm going to go the first auto show that's really one of the first semi-major auto shows coming out is the Houston Auto Show. And it's now an automotive show. And they've decided to put auto and boat shows together, seeing as how, it's kind of a dreary in January's in the later part of January is a little dreary in Houston and a little cold sometimes. And the sun's out, but, a little cold. There's no football going on right now. It's kind of toward the end of that. And so you're like, well, what do we do? So why don't we go to boat show, auto show? So let's do that. So it's in Houston at the NRG Center, right near the stadium where the Texans play and things like that. And that's going to be coming on, and that is going to be a great event. Tell you what, that's going to be a big event, and that's going to be in January 24th through 28th, and that's going to be a great event. Might as well get started. But when you get down to some of in the middle of the summer, man, who wants to go to a boat show? I mean, go to an auto show. I mean, we want to be out in the water. We want to be in the cars. You know what I mean? To me, auto shows ought to be when the weather, and boat shows ought to be when the weather's crummy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's tough now. Now we're seeing that these auto shows are having to couple with something else, like the boat show, because less and less manufacturers are finding it financially, making sense for them to go to these shows. It's expensive, and we're seeing them try and showcase cars in other places where people are going to be, and they don't have the competition of 20 other brands right next door to them. They're going to golf tournaments. They're going to, malls and stuff as point of display items. And we're kind of seeing like a reinvention of how they're marketing cars.
Well, I know that Ford is the vehicle, the Ford trucks is the official truck of the Houston rodeo. And, they're going to have 1 million people go through there over the 3 weeks.
Right.
It's on.
So they figure they'd rather have people at the rodeo where there's one Ford truck and there's no other competition, where someone can come and go, wow, look at this, and not get blasted by 5 other manufacturers saying, come look at me, come look at me. And they're finding that's a better way for them to interact with, fans. We're seeing it at Goodwood Revival and at some of the smaller at Pebble Beach. There are some manufacturers that are there to touch with their core audience. That seems to be the best and biggest way they do it nowadays.
You're probably right. I mean, it seems like it's that seems to be what's kind of going around. I mean, but some of these big auto shows like Chicago and they cost millions of dollars for the manufacturers to do stuff. I remember just being in the Houston show one time, and we were there for a press conference, and they had a bunch of chairs out, and the Nissan guy brought chairs, and he said, take these chairs with you. They say Nissan on them. You can have them. I went, oh, okay. And I said, well, wow, he said, they cost me about $40 a piece. I said, well, that's expensive. He goes, no, just the plain folding chairs that were uncomfortable that I have to rent. Those were like $95 a piece, to rent those for 2 hours for the morning. I was like, oh, he said, this is half the price for me. Oh, and you get a gift. I went, well, okay, that sounds pretty cool, but I didn't realize it was that expensive. But some of this stuff is really stupid, to put the carpet down, to put this down, to put that down. You have to have, union this or union that, and vendor approved that. And you have to have all these people come in that are all approved by the venue. And I don't know. It's just ridiculous. To me, that's foolish, but that's just how it works. And I don't know, but it just cost a lot. I know that Camp Jeep, that thing had to cost a lot when they put that thing on, that when the Jeep's climbing the hills and stuff inside all these auto shows, you got to know that's expensive to put on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, just from a manufacturing level, building the whole thing, they have a whole team working on these set designs almost.
Yeah, and it all moves from show to show, but it had to be, hundreds of thousands of dollars each show,
Yeah, and I hate going back to it, but you have to say that there has to be a little bit of influence from a brand like Tesla that doesn't have your traditional showroom, doesn't have your traditional marketing PR. They're not at the car shows. They're not at the big events, but you're able to interact with them at a smaller personal level by either going to check one out as a test drive, or just like their online presence of being able to order one, at the click of a button from your computer. I have to think that's in the minds of the other manufacturers competing.
You're probably right. I never thought about that really, but it has to affect it somehow or other. I mean, they don't play the game at all. I mean, they don't give reports. They don't do anything.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think the whole way that cars are being marketed is slowly changing. We're starting to see some of the big 3 manufacturers allow yourself to order a car online through your computer without the dealer. And I think that's going to change. And that's what is helping or hurting the auto shows from changing.
In a way, but I just don't know. I mean, people still want to go to see the vehicle. They want to go up there and look at it, and lean against it and breathe on it.
What do they say? Kick the tires.
Kick the
you got to
tires
go,
and this kind of stuff.
feel it out. See if you like it. I'm amazed. Nowadays, you talk to people who say they bought their car without even, I sat in the driver's seat once, didn't even test drive it, bought it, and they're happy with it. For me, I got to interact with every single button and knob and see where stuff gets stored and how it works. I don't know.
I know, but sometimes it's just the fact that the dealers want us to change, the manufacturers want us to change how we do things, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. They're wanting us to change how we